Good morning and welcome to Hates the Miltons. I am a full-time working mom of 2 kids that are in daycare. We recently went through RSV in our home. My 3-year-old had it and then my 6-month-old had it. And it was a lot. It was a very, very long week. 2 weeks. It was a long 2 weeks. With that being said, we see a lot of sickness. My first was sick for a year straight, pretty much. I couldn't even wrap my head around it when it was happening, but now that I've been through it once, and now we're starting to go through it with our second, who is 6 months old, I thought I would share some tips on how to get through illness in infants that are under the age of 12 months old. My number one tip is to take them to your pediatrician. I have never regretted taking my child to see his doctor. They are seeing sick kids regularly and they know what is going around. They know, what symptoms to look for, and they can tell you, they can advise you on what to do next. So, number one, take your kid to the doctors. I mean, if it's a mild cold and you don't feel it's necessary, obviously don't. But if it's something more serious, then, like I said, I've never regretted taking my kid to the doctors. Even if it was for something small and I felt kind of silly, my doctors are amazing. They never make me feel bad for bringing my kid in to get checked on. My second tip is steam. We would just turn on the shower as hot as it could go, shut the door for a few minutes, and then go in there for a few minutes. I wouldn't suggest staying in there for too long because it does warm up. It gets pretty hot in there and you don't want to overheat your baby. But this really helps break up the mucus and drain it. And I noticed that when we would go in there, he would really cough a lot of it up. My third tip is to go outside, especially if it's cooler out. This is something our pediatrician actually recommended to us. And it worked better than the steam. The hot steam was great, but cold air actually made the mucus come out even better. It's nice if you live in an area that is cooler during cold season because you can kind of utilize the cold air. They said even if you open your freezer and have them kind of stand in front of the freezer for a while, that helps too. But the cold air helped so much, and it is March right now, so it's actually the perfect weather. It's not too cold to take them outside and go for a walk, but it's cold enough that it really helps. I have no idea how it works. Not a biologist, but I do know that it helps a lot. My fourth tip would be the nose Frida. It's like a snot sucker. That thing is amazing. I have the electric one and the one that you suck with your own mouth. And the mouth one actually works better than the electric one. You can really get a lot of snot out that way. They don't like it, but they feel so much better once they can breathe again. So I highly recommend that. The fifth tip is to feed less but more frequently. So if you're breastfeeding, just basically feed on demand. Feed them more often, because if they're really stuffy, they might not feed for as long. Same goes for babies that are formula fed. Just give them less but more frequently. So I've noticed that when Juno was really stuffy this past few weeks, he wouldn't stay on the boob for as long. He kind of would have to come off and breathe, and also when they're coughing a lot, they just don't want to eat as much. So feeding more frequently, and it might be a shorter amount of time or less in the bottle, that helps so much. My sixth tip I have, sixth, why does that sound so weird? My sixth tip I have is lots of cuddles and contact naps. I am all about independent sleeping, but when they're sick, in my experience, they do so much better when they're just close to you, and they just sleep longer. And really, you want them to sleep so that they can recover. So, for naps, I would hold him for his naps, and I just would hold him a lot and cuddle him a lot. Like he didn't really want to be put down, but it just helped him so much to nap for longer. And I feel like that really helped in the recovery. And lastly, number 7, take some time for yourself. It is really hard caring for multiple kids that are not feeling well. It's stressful, and if your partner can, or if your mom or a friend can just come over for a half an hour so that you can take a hot bath or read a book or whatever it is that helps you kind of like get your energy back, do it. I highly recommend it. It doesn't have to be every day, but just take 30 minutes for yourself and get recharged. So yeah, I hope that some of these help you with sick kids. It is not fun. It is really hard, but know that it gets better. Follow what your pediatrician says. They'll tell you what to look for if, there's something more concerning, and they'll tell you what to do. So, I really feel for anyone who is currently dealing with a sick kid. But you got this. You're doing a great job. And just know that it's going to pass. Anyways, I hope that these tips help someone out there. They definitely helped us when we were going through it. So the more we share and the more we help each other out, the better. Bye.